I want to say thank you to a few people because you guys are amazing. As is the case with a lot of other content creators, I too have a P.O. box. I'll put it here on the screen for you. And I went to the P.O. box and I got some stuff in the P.O. box. So first from Kevin Zhang, at least that's the name. On the package, there's no note inside. Kevin sent me this lovely t-shirt. Right there, you see, sorry, you see that? I really appreciate Kevin in that he thinks that I can wear a 2X. I'm a 4X. I'm a big boy. But thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. We'll set that off to the side here. So we can get to the next thing, which is from Scott in Monrovia. Scott sent me a nice letter and a couple of bucks and a CD. Now the letters are all, I always keep them personal. These are all saved and put in a file. The couple of bucks, I'll explain that in just a moment. And the CD is from Black River Bloodbath, soundtrack to a beatdown. This sounds like some off-the-wall shit here. The song titles are Freight Train, Hellstorm, Infidel, Bullet to the Brain, Lady of the Snake, Loaded Gun, Midnight Runner, Road Rage, Straight Hate 8, and Tramp. So I'll have to check that out. That seems a tad intense. But thank you very much to Scott for the CD, the money, and the letter. Tom, what's the money about? Well, I've got this thing going on where I've asked all of my followers on my social media platforms to send me $1. If that happens, I can rake in 1.8 million. And in the P.O. box, he sent his. A lot of people send more than $1. I don't know why, but it's cool. And got another stack here. And I am saying thank you to everybody that sends one. So here we have a gentleman from Canada. Now, he did not send $1, but he did send me a lovely letter and a card. Okay? So I appreciate that. This is his name. I want to make sure that I have everybody. Pierre. Pierre, from New Brunswick. I did get the letter and the card, and I appreciate that immensely. This is from D. Martin in Louisiana. D. Martin sent a lovely letter and a $5. So I do appreciate that immensely. Let me get all of this organized here. My apologies. And then Scott from Pennsylvania sent a nice letter, typed up letter, and a $2 bill. A lot of people send $2 bills. It really is quite amazing to see the volume of $2 bills coming in, which is legal tender, by the way. That tells me that you have a lot of people out there in the world that pay electronically with a debit card or a credit card or through some app or something like that. And the only actual bills that they have around the house are $2 bills, which, I totally understand. Jim from Newtown, Maryland, sent me $1. Just slapped $1 in an envelope, no note. Jim, I appreciate the $1, brother. It's going towards the fund. I'll explain the fund here in a moment. Michael in Port St. Lucie, Florida, also sent in a nice letter. Sorry, and a folded up $1. Nice little note. Thank you, Michael. All of those notes once again are getting kept in a file. Gary in Imperial, Pennsylvania, sent in a lovely handwritten letter, 2 pages, and a check for $10. That's the first check I've ever gotten, so that's weird. Not weird in a bad way. I've never had anybody write me a check in this endeavor here. Okay, so this one did not have a return address on the outside. However, it is from Tony in Missouri. And Tony sent a couple of $1 in. Thank you very much. I'll explain it all in just a second if you're not familiar with it already. Got a couple more here. Mr. Hester. Well, that's an interesting stamp. From Hawaii, I believe. Mr. Hester from Hawaii. And Mr. Hester sent in a lovely card. It's actually a very interesting card. It's got like a pterodactyl and a robot and a Bigfoot and an alien and a giant frog and a dude fishing. It's just funky. And he sends in a $5, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And last but definitely not least out of this batch would be Carol out of Castleton, Virginia, who also sent a lovely card. And a bunch of stickers in the envelope, which is always cool, you know. And she sent this lovely card with these notes and stickers, and she too sent a $5. And like I said, a whole bunch of stickers. So, give me 1 second here. Put this back in here. This one's not as easy to put back into the envelope. And then we'll talk about what this is all about. If you've been following me for any period of time, you know what I'm talking about already. If you haven't been following me for any period of time, several years ago I read a news story about a gentleman who put a personal ad in the back of High Times magazine that said, I need 1 million people to send me $1, and then he put a P.O. box. And the news story said that he got 43,000 people to send him $1. I mentioned this on a TikTok about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and 22 people randomly sent me $1. I took that money and I gave it to the local hospice center. And this year I said, you know what? I'm going to revisit this story. Only I'm going to tell you that I'm keeping the money. I want to take my wife to one of those fucking huts over the Indian Ocean. I said, so let's beat the $43,000. I have 1.5 million followers on TikTok, over 250,000 subscribers on YouTube, 30,000 followers on Instagram, whatever the numbers are. If everybody sends me $1, we'll be in one of those huts, and then we'll do vacation content from the hut. Now, a handful of people have sent, about 40 people have sent either $1, $2, $10, $20 via CashApp, PayPal, or Venmo. I prefer the dollar bill system here. But this is how many people have so far sent in. All of the notes, envelopes, cards, and money are all still here. Obviously, I'm going to take the check out so it doesn't sit there and go bad. When this looks like it has reached 45,000, we will go through here and take all the money out and see how much we have. In the meantime, I'm going to keep them right here, piling up. If you guys want to participate, please drop $1 in an envelope to the P.O. box on your screen. And we'll see what it takes to get us to the Maldives. Thank you guys very much.